Okay guys, welcome back to game number 3 between XPC and Refugees. I'm Reddit, joining me is Prophecy. Now Prophecy, for those of you guys listening in-game, his Dota just crashed, so he's busy coming back up. He'll be back soon. He'll let me know, of course, or he'll just start talking as soon as he's back in the game. XPC beating Refugees now, both games in 15 minutes. I think Blow Your Mind is sort of kicking themselves at this point for choosing to go up against XPC in the first round, or well, in the semi-finals itself. Blow Your Mind winning the group stages. They got to choose who their opponents were, and they chose XPC. XPC beating them out. It's not double elim, so XPC making it through to the finals. Refugees beating out Project Dota on a very, I'm not going to say controversial game one, but a very interesting game one to say the least. After calling GG, then it wasn't GG because they just wiped the complete opposing team. It was insane. I really like those games. Refugees' weak point though is early game, and they're banning out once again the Jakiro and the Undying. And I mean, those are two early game heroes. Now the Jakiro ban out, a lot of you guys are going to be wondering, why ban out the Jakiro? XPC showed that in game one why you do that. Blow Your Mind always bans Jakiro up against them, and they just showed the power that they run the Jakiro as a core, and just pushing down, and 15 minutes in, you're calling the game. Let's see if Refugee can actually come back from this. They did manage to beat Project after just reading Project for the first two games, coming back with a game 3, and actually taking it to Project quite early on. They tried to do that in the second game, and it started off looking good. Unfortunately, 3 heroes dying, 2 heroes dying, and all of a sudden that's 4,000 net worth at around 4 or 5 minutes in the game for XPC. They just got completely crushed. XPC banned out the Doom and the Wisp. First pick Bane from XPC, followed by a Slardar and a Dazzle. So going for that armor minus armor strat. Prophecy, are you back in yet?
Yeah, I'm back. Wondering why they've picked themselves up a fish in the first round. The Dazzle, I totally agree with it. It secures their lanes. I would have actually been happier here to see maybe something like a Quap or a Tusk. The Slaughter, I think it's too. I mean, it's going to provide some potential killing power in the lane of the Crush and the Sprint, but aside from that, he's just too easy to just screw. I mean, if I can just put it that way, it's just like he doesn't farm very well, which means the XPC can just kind of avoid him. He's not really going to be wanting to TP all that soon either, so it's a very static hero in the early stages in terms of its lane, and I don't really know why they've decided to grab it this early. I mean, there's a lot better options they could have gone for here.
Yeah, well, XPC's been batting out the Slaughter in the second phase the whole time, so perhaps they do prioritize that Slaughter, quite highly. Slaughter is also a very early game hero. We mentioned it, between that 20 to 35 minute mark, that is when Slaughter shines. However, they have not managed to get to that 20-minute mark at all so far. So it's going to be very difficult for them. I mean, if they do manage to hit that, then Slaughter will come into its own if he wasn't shut down completely. The Dazzle, of course, does have the Shallow Grave, so will actually be able to save his, compatriot, if I can put it that way, in the Slaughter. And the Dazzle and the Slaughter was constantly banned out either by Refugees or by XPC. Perhaps they just want to say, well, we do prioritize these heroes quite highly. Let's just pick them up. XPC deciding to go for Dox here now as well.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the Dazzle is a very, very potent laning support, so he's going to prevent any sort of kills going against you. And I mean, that's why I'm totally behind the Dazzle pick here. I would have been happy also to perhaps see a Wyvern. She can also do quite a number of, quite a bit of work there. But again, Darkseer coming out here. I mean, if they're going to run the Slaughter as the safe lane carry, Darkseer's going to have a field day. It's going to be very, very difficult for Slaughter to actually get anywhere near him, or even just near the creeps with the farm that the Iron Shell will deny. So it's going to be, again, I think a bit of a rough laning stage here for Refugiati. Bane is incredibly potent. Darkseer is quite independent on his lane, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to do anything, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. Once again, though, the Broodmother being banned out by XPC, Shadow Fiend, Queen of Pain, and Witch Doctor. So Witch Doctor actually getting a ban here. That's, quite an interesting ban out as well. I mean, that heal and that sustainability that it provided in game 2 was, it was tremendous. You can't throw that out at all. But this leaves mid completely open. Perhaps going back a little bit more old school, we might see a Lina or a Lesh or something similar in that middle lane. But there's also still the Wind Ranger left.
Yeah, Wind Ranger, I think the most likely pickup here. The Rubik grabbed by Refugiati. I mean, Rubik's been largely ignored so far in the patch. He does combo obviously well with the Slaughter, can lift you and throw you onto the Doxia, and it is one way of control. Sorry, lift you and throw you onto the Slaughter, where he'll just land that Slitherine Crush. But I don't know. I mean, against the Doxia, I suppose it's good, but he has to make certain that he gets a lift after the Surge, because if he doesn't, then I mean, Doxia should be able to get away fairly easily. So yeah, I mean, again, it's an idea that Refugee is going to try and work with, but they have to get aggressive, because at the moment we haven't seen anything for the off lanes or the mid laners, and I think XPCs are going to go with one of these early potent drafts. Wind Ranger could do a job there. The Quap is no longer an option, unfortunately for her. But I mean, you were also mentioning the Lina. She could do a decent bit of work there.
Yeah, well, XPC going for a Sand King Dogs here. Not as early a kind of lineup as we saw in game 1 or game 2, but still pretty potent with a Sand. It's basically that Doxia Jakiro combo with the Doxia vacuuming into an Ice Path, or Doxia Earthshaker combo, or Doxia Sand King combo. That vacuum into a Burrow Strike into an Epicenter can do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, I think given the way that XPC plays, though, we're not going to see the traditional Sand King sitting in the jungle till about 8 minutes when he's got that Blink Dagger.
Definitely not.
He's definitely going to be hanging around in the lane, probably working with the Bane to make things happen, and they'll be hunting around as just a roving death squad, and that's going to be an incredibly potent lane to deal with as well. Could also end up being an aggressive tri-lane here, if I'm looking at it correctly. And I mean, the Sand King could just be an absolute terror. He can, if he gets lucky and stands up the Dazzle as well, Dazzle will have only one level of the grave early, so it's a very, very short range. And level 3 Burrow Strike, well placed by the Sand King, could easily just prevent the Dazzle from getting off the grave in time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's an insane combo that they can do with the Nightmare into the Burrow Strike, straight into a Sandstorm, kind of combo. What do you see Refugee actually going for here as, their mid to, try and combo up with this? I really like Alina, or, well, they've gone for a Clock, so they've actually picked up their offlaner right now. This is going to be then a number 1 Slaughter.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not 100% happy with that, since it makes life pretty simple for XPC. Again, I'd say a lack of extreme hard lockdown for Refugees. Clockwork has the cogs, obviously, and the Rubik has the lift, but I mean, in terms of just stuns, Slaughter's the only one that has that available to them, so a little bit light there, but again, it depends on how XPC is going to play this. I think if they'd gone with a mid lane of potentially something like the Lina, as you mentioned, it would have been very, very good. I mean, it's just multiple stuns coming out then, and a lot of burst damage as well, which Refugee is not going to really deal with that well outside of the Slaughter.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, XPC, every single time they pick up a semi-push hero, and well, this time it's the Enchantress. So it's not the standard lineup that we saw in game 1 or game 2. It's a little bit different. Wind Ranger being banned out now by Refugees as well.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was just gonna say, like, your comment that it's like, it's like a semi-push lineup. Well, I mean, if you're picking up the Enchantress, I don't think it's semi-push anymore. It's pretty much just hard push, because XPC realizes that Refugiati are not going to be able to do anything if you've got this many heroes hanging out. They got a Tinker now to try and slow things down, but I mean, XPC, they could still find something, I think, in their big bag of tricks to just rush the Tinker before he's able to get anything done.
Yeah, no, I was about to say they don't really have any lane clear except for the Dazzle possibly, to try and stop a push from XPC. But the Tinker came in. It's still going to be very difficult, especially with that Axe. Basically, what's going to happen is Doxia's going to have a blink, Sand King's going to have a blink, Axe is going to have a blink. You've got 3 possible initiators there. If Doxia blink Vax, Axe is going to blink Call. If Axe blinks Calls, Doxia's going to blink Vac. regardless of those two, guess what? There's a Sand King that's going to blink Epi, stun you.
Yeah, and I mean, all the meanwhile, you're going to have Razvan on his Enchantress just, wrecking your towers while you're trying to have this, 4v5 fight. It's just, XPC, I think, is... I mean, again, this lineup is not going to survive past the 20-25 minute mark. If RFG is even remotely in the region, it should be fairly easy for them to win at that point. But I mean, XPC, they're going to make hay while the sun shines, and they are going to just batter down RFG's towers before RFG is in really any condition to try and fight here.
Yeah, well, let's have a quick look here. Let me introduce the side of XPC. It is going to be Illusionist on the Bane, Masakari on the Axe, Keanu on the Sand King, Synergy on the Darkseer, and last but not least, Razvan. Keep in mind though, the ultimate from the Enchantress Impetus is no longer an attack modifier. So that's a big change that actually came in like a month or two ago.
Yeah, but I mean, you're assuming that XPC is actually going to play the carry Enchantress in that role as opposed to just a mass push. But yeah, for the side of RFG, we're going to start off with a Clockwork that is run by Immortal Faith down on the bot lane. Hoodoo will be grabbing the Slur. Aki will be grabbing that Dazzle to back him up. Powerpuff on the Rubik this time. Looks like we might see an aggressive tri-lane out of those three. Claudio will be running the Tinker this time, and hoping that something can be done, because he needs a little bit of time to farm up as we see movements in. The pings do come out onto Illusionist, not really the end of that.
I think AKI is actually Freak, or he's a full stand-in. I'm not quite sure, because Freak's supposed to be their other player.
I think he's actually a stand-in, because he was in place of Hoodoo in game 1, and then Hoodoo joined and somebody else dropped out. Let me just pull up the stats for you quickly.
Cool. Well, Tinker getting the bounty rune, Sand King getting the bounty rune, and I mean, there isn't really that much lockdown to try and take on this Axe in this offlane. Axe might actually just, with the help of the Bane. Once again, I mean, we saw Refugees doing this the last time around. They're basically sacking their safe lane for an entire creep wave or two.
Yeah, it does seem very, very weird that they keen on doing that, because it just makes life too easy for XPC. It's already a lineup that's going to be dominating, and now you're going to basically just give them free farm? I don't understand. It makes very, very little sense for me.
Yeah, that's going to be halfway to level 2 by the time that Immortal Faith actually comes here. I think they just try to swap out the lanes a little bit. And well, let's have a look here. Powerpuff it's going to be a tri-lane versus a dual lane.
No, Dox is alone by himself up top lane here, because Razvan's decided to be extraordinarily cheeky and actually just steal the stack camps for Claudio's Tinker.
Well, we are seeing an engagement here on the top lane. They're busy body blocking the Darkseer. Darkseer does use a surge. It's going to be so close. 2 more hits needed. Does also pop that self. So, good engagement coming through from Refugees. I like it. They're taking the fight straight to the side of XPC. And 6-0, 6-0, 5-0, 4-0. So the top last hits, well, 10-0. So the Axe is actually doing an insane job here. I mean, pulling in the creeps, farming the stack, well, not the stack, the neutrals, as well as the enemy. It's gonna, well, I missed first blood. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I was actually watching that in the mid lane. Razvan backstabs from the jungle and actually gets the first blood there onto the... No, they lost the first blood, the Sand King going down first, but the Tinker was the trade, and we might see another trade here onto Arki as...
Hadouken!
Yeah, Hadouken does get the kill in the end.
Well, it's still a good trade-off for the side of Refugee, I think. Oh, no, wait, Sand King got the first blood, so no, it's not a good trade-off.
Oh, did Sand King get the first blood?
Wait. Sand King. Oh no, Dazzle.
No, Sand King went down. Dazzle got the first blood. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, I mean, it was very, very close to Claudio being the first blood, but Sand King went down first. So a tiny ray of hope there for them, but Keanu is just going to make life for the Tinker very, very difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's not really the easiest for Tinker, since if he drops the March of the Machines, Keanu will not be able to stand in the Sandstorm, but he can stun him up, and with Razvan on the patrol in the area, it's very, very likely that Claudio just gets hunted again.
Yeah, no, definitely. Bottom lane though, Razvan going into the enemy jungle. You might just see a wraparound here after a few creeps. And there's a Tomato, aka Harbor Smasher, so they might actually decide to dive this on the bottom lane. Harbor Smasher is a very nice creep to actually have early on, because it does give you the swiftness aura, as well as a nice little thunderclap that does 150 damage.
Yeah, I mean, that is great, particularly against the Tinker, who's not really the fastest hero in the game. And we're going to see that kill up on the top lane with Slaughter going down. Oh, sorry, Slaughter getting the kill onto Darkseer.
Slaughter getting the kill on the Darks here. So this time RFG actually, you know, doing quite a bit of work, taking, you know, oh wait, hold on, bottom lane. Illusionist just diving very deep. So both these two teams really want to take the fight to the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, Masakari and Illusionist taking a bit of a chance here. Obviously, against the Dazzle, you can't really do the creep skip with the accents. You'll just eat a lot of damage for very little gain. Illusionist will just sleep up Immortal Faith and try to run away, but he's actually gotten himself a little bit too close to that battery assault and might very well end up paying for his life.
Well, there's the call actually coming through. Immortal Faith is trapped too. This is actually very good, but they just don't have anything further. Are they going to be able to get the kill? They do. Immortal Faith will actually pay for this with his life. Now they're going to back off. Powerpuff is here to try and help out. But a 1-for-1 trade-off, unfortunately, it's not as good as they would like because it's your clockwork for a Bane. And I mean, Bane will do that trade any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it does sort of slow down XPC, since XPC would definitely love to be coming out ahead there as well. Trading evenly right now, while bad, I think is somehow still better for RFG, because RFG does have the ability to take it past 25 minutes, and XPC, unless they're extremely far ahead, that seems very unlikely.
Yeah, no, definitely. Top lane though, now it's just a Slaughter versus the Darkseer. What is that, a smoke movement? No, it's just going to be Bane and Sand King as well. Wait though, here there's Razvan. So I'm just trying to find out where's the next piece of engagement going to come to, because there's already 6 kills.
It's actually down a bot lane where Masakari is trying to run for his life. He's on very, very low HP, could be caught out here, does have the Battle Hunger up, and the Clockwork Rocket not enough to finish him off there.
Yeah, and meanwhile the Rubik was actually killed in his own jungle by, guess what, a good combination with the Sand King stun once again. Oh, Sand King stun unfortunately missing this time. Immortal Fate does manage to push them back a little bit, but that's 4 heroes down. Well, you know, 4 heroes moving in here for XPC. They do manage to get yet another kill.
Yeah, yet another kill, and they're going to start putting, I think, a lot of pressure down on the spot lane. Somehow Immortal Faith was able to make his way to safety after all of that. But XPC not going to be, you know, sitting on the laurels for too long. They will be making something happen some way.
Well, looking at the last hits, the now is 37-0 for the Axe, 29-12, 24-2 for the side of Refugees on both sides. But TP's coming in here on the bottom lane. Are they actually going to be able to do anything? The Dazzle comes and tries to get that heal on the Axe. Immortal Faith, unfortunately, not close enough. Very good block coming through from the Enchantress to make sure that they can't actually go through.
Yeah, fantastic play by Razvan there with his Dark Troll Summoner.
Yeah. Just trying to... Oh, top lane though. Slaughter taking quite a bit of damage as well. There's quite a lot of action happening. I mean, 6 minutes in, there's 8 kills already. There's 8 kills already across the board. But who do you really favor this early on in the game? Because there's not that big of a difference between the two.
Well, the thing is, RFG is doing a hell of a lot better than they have been the last couple of games. So they're looking pretty decent. I mean, they have just lost a tower down in the bot lane there, but it was a deny. So it's a little bit of economy Scrooge there for XPC. We see some aggression on Claudio as well, but the thing is, shutting down Claudio is a nice way to extend the game, and they get a kill onto the Bane as well. So RFG doing a hell of a lot better this game, and I would almost say right now I almost favor them to possibly win this game.
Yeah, no, definitely. XPC just playing a little bit too aggressively at this point. However, they are 4 and 5 ahead, which is significant. Sorry. Goldworth though, net worth, sorry, Goldworth. Oh, my brain is mush today. 1,500 in favor of... Ooh, no, wait, did you see an engagement straight onto Enchantress? Enchantress does manage to get a little slow off onto... Oh, that's actually going to be a very good engagement. Counter engagement, sorry, my brain is a little bit mush. Good counter engagement coming through. I actually thought that they were going to get the kill there onto the Slaughter after that stun. But not managing to get that. I was busy saying 1,500 net worth for XPC and roughly the same in experience. So they do lead quite a bit at around the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, they lead fairly significantly for the time. But again, they have to have this kind of lead. If they don't have this lead, then they have absolutely no chance of winning. So they need to get up the Blink Daggers very, very quickly. Masakari is starting to work on the Sand King as well, sitting at about 1,300. So those are all important, and they probably will need a mech this game to try and combat the Tinker spam with the rockets. Yep. Oh, sorry, with the Marching Machine.
They are trying to go onto the Dogs here right now. Dogs here does use Vac. He might actually get the kill onto the Slaughter. He does. Very well played. The lift was there. Unfortunately, the lift into the instant stun wasn't there, but now they're going onto the bottom lane as well. Masakari wants to go for more here. Unfortunately, there's no more battery assault left, and the impetus is doing so much damage onto Immortal Faith. There's no Blink Dagger up for Axe. He's gone for a Vanguard, of course, just to tank up early on, and well, he has to be careful because here you go, there's the battery assault, and the ball is actually used there by Axe. Is he going to be able to get the stun? No! That was very close. Culling Blade being used. That's another kill. And meanwhile, the Epicenter coming through from the Sand King, managing to get another kill on top of the Tinker.
Yeah, and this is when XPC's lineup has actually started to get going. The Sand King is, working with this deep vision that they do have from Razvan, and a couple of misplays on a bot lane also result in a death there for the Clockwork. But in general, XPC looking pretty solid, but as I said, they still need to do a little bit more. They're really starting to pressure RFG now, and RFG has shown the ability to do pretty well against it, but they need to continue, because right now it's not looking fantastic for them.
Yeah, 4,000 net worth all of a sudden in favor of XPC. Just over 3.5, well, just under 3.5. Well, just over 3 actually, in regards to net worth. So Claudio still got some work to do to get that Boots of Travel up to become that annoying, pestering, split-pushing Tinker. The problem though is, if XPC keeps the lanes pushed out over here the whole time, inside of the, well, basically inside of, RFG's, side of the map, how is Tinker going to actually be able to farm up and be able to split push?
Yeah, well, the thing is they have to make certain that the Tinker doesn't get any farm, and they have to make certain that he doesn't get it early, because if he's up at the level where he can sustain for long enough, then they'll never actually be able to push into the Tinker either. So Tinker will be able to just farm away, and then eventually it'll just be a very, very slow game where RFG will eventually win via the Tinker's ability to just constantly push.
Sand King does have his Blink Dagger up right now. The Blink Dagger is nearly up for the Axe, around 300 gold odd. And the Dogs here are just going for that mech build to start off with. But as soon as the Axe and the Sand King's blinks are up, we might just see them 5-man straight through middle.
Yeah, definitely will be the case. They'll just go absolutely ham on the lanes if that happens, or when that happens. So really, all we're just waiting is Axe's Blink Dagger. That should be up very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Tinker is sitting on 100 gold to his Boots of Travel. It's still early enough for it to actually be of quite a big use. Well, Slaughter actually has his Blink Dagger, talking about Blink. So this might just be if RFG can actually surprise XPC with this Blink Dagger on the Slaughter, as well as a good Clockwork initiation, they might just be able to get a quick 2 or 3 hero pick off and bring them straight back into this game.
Yeah, but RFG hasn't really shown the necessary aggression. Even up on the top lane there, you could see they tried it a couple of times, but against the Dogs it was pretty tricky. So they have to time it well. If they time it poorly and RFG is able to catch them on a counter, then it's just going to end very, very badly for them, as Immortal Faith does spot out Kiano, I think.
No, there is an invis rune on him, so... Well, oh wait, but that's also a Sentry Ward there. There's the Epicenter being channeled up by the Sand King. Blink Dagger in, straight onto a Burrow Strike, and that is going to be Tinker. Well, there's Tinker down only right now. But a good cogs coming through from the Clockwork. They might actually be able to get a kill off there. It's a 3-for-2 trade-off at this point, favoring RFG completely. But there's the call in from the Axe. One dunk, and not even a second dunk needed, just a spin. So what started off as a brilliant engagement from RFG, unfortunately, just turned, well, very bad. The creeps just blocking and Dazzle, unfortunately. This might just be full 5-man wipe. Ultra kill coming from Masakari. And well, he has 1,400 gold after that. I mean, this was a perfect, near perfect engagement from RFG. I think if the... Oh, hold on that thought quickly. It might actually just drop from this. This might be a big pickup. Unfortunately though, the Slaughter is just being completely crushed. There's one more impetus needed.
Might actually die. I think he's gonna die. Oh, it was very, very low HP there.
Bottle charges.
Yeah, thank goodness Claudio is quick thinking and actually saved his ally there.
If it wasn't for the Sand King, you know, Epicenter coming through in that fight and doing so much damage, I think RFG might have actually completely wiped the side of XPC.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know what was going on there because I was pretty certain that they saw the Sand King in this area. Then they saw a fight take place over here, and it's like, okay, the Sand King is like, he's not going to just jump in from here with, you know, with the Epi. That's never going to happen. So Powerpuff sort of wandered around in the trees over here and then decided maybe to come in afterwards. And I think if Powerpuff had lifted the Sand King, they would have saved Claudio and turned that fight around big time.
Well, the hook shot being used by Clockwork, unfortunately, hooking straight into the creeps. And there they're going straight onto him right now as well. He does get shallow graved up, but I think he will drop. There you go. The call or the your battle hunger is actually there onto Immortal Fate. So he'll just tick down. And the Bane ultimate, I'm hearing it coming through onto, that was onto the Tinker. And well, there's another call, well, a call on the one side and a stun on the other side. I mean, XPC is just doing exactly what they did in, you know, game number 2 at the 13-14 minute mark. They're just crushing the side of RFG.
But
and they want more. They want more.
Do they beat 14 minutes 48 seconds? Because that was what they beat in. That was what they got in game 2. Game 1 was, I think, 15 minutes 10 seconds. So I think RFG is trying to break their record for how quickly they can win here at the moment, and going to be a little bit slower, I believe. I don't think RFG is going to throw in the towel anytime soon, but XPC again showing just masterful domination of the laning stage into these early fights.
Yeah, the mech's also coming through on the docks here right now. 7,500 net worth lead. Experience is roughly the same. Have a quick look at the item progression here from XPC side. Oh, I heard a call. Where's the call? No call. Where did I? Oh,
just farming jungle.
Okay, so having a look at the item progression, Bane is sitting, I mean, just being complete, you know, that number 5 role. Has his tranquil boots up, and that's basically it. From the side of the Enchantress, also not having, you know, the best form at, you know, 50. Well, I mean, still having Urn of Shadows as well as Power Trade is, you know, quite significant. On the Enchantress, the Axe, however, has full Vanguard, Boots of Travel, as well as a Blink Dagger up. Sand King will have a 4-star up probably in the next 3 or 4 minutes. And Darkseer having that makeup. I mean, those are not insane items, but they're early game items. The items that allow you to fight right now. Meanwhile, Tinker has Boots of Travel as well as Soul Ring. So Tinker's not doing too badly. Quickly jumping over to the net worth right now. The Slaughter has Blink and Brown Boots. That's a problem. Rubik has Boots as well as a Soul Ring. Dazzle has a Urn of Shadows, and Clockwork has Brown Boots and a Chainmail and a Robe of Magi. So the early game items just, you know, completely dominating for the side of XPC.
Yeah, I mean, again though, they have to go for these early game items. We see that the Razvan is actually looking to be building into a pipe, which I think is a good idea. It's going to mitigate some of the damage from the martial machines at this point, and I just think they need to do a little bit more there. They've become a little bit passive in the last, say, a minute or so, and they need to keep this up. They need to make certain that the pressure comes through as Illusionist gets caught out in the jungle.
Well, he actually gets very good hook shots on straight onto that as well. Unfortunately, it's only him, but they do manage to get that quick pick, and they back off straight away with the Tinker's March of the Machines. The wall was also dropped, so a very good pick-off for them, especially on that Bane. Not a lot of gold given, but it still most likely will give them this middle tower.
Yeah, I mean, are they willing to deal with all the Tinker spam though? That's the thing, is that they have to jump across the Tinker spam to get to him, and that's why I said that they needed to be done by about 25 minutes, because at that stage Tinker can really just constantly do it. He can just sit there and spam for days, and even now, with what he's got up, he can be a right pain in the backside. Once he's got something like the Blink Dagger up, it becomes a lot more challenging to actually catch him.
Yeah, no, definitely. And let's have a look. Are we going to see an early rush? I think XPC has to try and move their way into rush quite soon. They don't have a medallion up, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I mean, you do have the Axe there that can tank it up. You do have a Sand King that can tank it up, and you do have Enchantress Creeps that can tank it up as well.
Yeah, I mean, they can take it out, but I would probably suggest getting at the very least a medallion to try and speed it up. So the rest of the team for XPC, though, are trying to make their movements bottom. They have a good vision ward here, so they'll spot this movement from Immortal Faith, knowing that he's the only one in the area, and they'll just use this as an excuse to take out this tower.
Yeah, no, definitely. Top lane, it is going to be the Slaughter busy pushing out here Quite surprised that they didn't send the Tinker up to the top lane to try and, you know, just at least get some towers. But he's gone down bottom, so that means they actually want to try and defend. And he's just going to spam out March of the Machines. We might see right now the side of XPC actually going into rush.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get some kind of objective. They I don't know, you know, if you're going to send 3 heroes down bot lane, try and push it out there, you should at least send somebody into the mid lane and try and push that out, because again, just a lot of free damage being lost on the towers, and they starting to get to that point where the Tinker is able to just deal with all of the lanes, and they can't really find anything to do.
Yeah, Tinker will have his Blink Dagger up as well soon, so Refugees trying to do what they can. I mean, they've stabilized the net worth. It was sitting at around 8,000. It's now again around 7.5. So they aren't losing anymore, which is good. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Is the sentry's being put down. Unfortunately, just going to be dewarded completely. The big thing here, though, is Refugees not losing out. And unfortunately, there's a Blink Dagger in from Masakari, and that is going to most likely be the end of the Rubik. Is there going to be a dunk? One dunk. The vacuum's there, but good work from the Tinker, nearly actually getting that pick off. But they've just got that extra pick, and they decide to back off. There's going to be a Clockwork that actually has his battery assault off. Unfortunately, Fiend's Grip is right there. Another dunk from Masakari, and there's the sleep onto the Tinker, and this might just be his life in return, as well as the dazzle that's used, that actually toggled off the Nightmare. The dunk was prematurely used. Now remember, you can actually dunk through a shallow grave, just keep that in mind, but the dunk was just used a little bit too early.
Yeah, it was on cooldown. That's why. Yeah, he couldn't use the dunk because it was on cooldown, so too much HP, and then it's a 60-second cooldown, I think it is. So yeah, I mean, that pick off on the Tinker was, I think, the I wouldn't say the game breaker, but it certainly feels like it at this stage. I mean, 921, he was just starting to become a major problem for them. They'd been struggling to take towers, and now all of a sudden, after his death, they'll grab at the very least 2, and maybe 3 if they can catch him out again. So yeah, I mean, big play to get caught out like that.
Yeah. Slaughter actually going for a Hand of Midas here, thinking that, listen, we have to try and come back. I mean, they have to give this game another 15 or so minutes to try and, make that Midas worth something. Unfortunately, the hookshot coming in and the Dark Shield just being pushed out of the cogs, and they couldn't actually get anything. But there's the stun coming to you from the Sand King. Immortal Faith, he's just being shallow graved up right now. He might just go down anyway. Good engagement. No idea how the Dogs here actually managed to get pushed out of the cogs. Not a good stun coming through from the Sand King. Missing Power Prof. Power Prof, I think, is still... No, not going to drop.
Yeah, are you getting a graphical glitch as well, that whenever the Sand King casts his Sandstorm, like, that doesn't show anything except an invis Sand King?
No, I actually saw it.
Okay, I'm not getting any of the graphical effects of the Sandstorm, so something must be up there. Maybe just change the settings or something. But yeah, so RFG continuing to be placed under pressure. They've actually been pinned in the
hold on that thought quickly. A big ping back wall combination coming into an Axe double dunk or an Axe single dunk, and this might actually be the end of the game if they continue on this far. But they're diving very fast. The Clockwork's coming in with his battery, so trying to get a little bit more kills. He actually does use his cogs. But another dunk coming through right now as well. And Slaughter might be able to get a good counter kill. Unfortunately, the Bane just uses the Nightmare. Triple kill from the Axe. That's a full 5-man wipe. 4-0.
Yeah, fantastic plays there by the Bane, knowing that if he pops the Nightmare, that even though it's not such low HP, the Slaughter can't attack him, Tower won't attack him, and able to save his life there. And good reading of the plays by the Axe also to jump in and get the Axe, get the chop to finish everything off. So fantastic all-around plays by XPC, and RFG just really, I mean, playing a hell of a lot better than they did in game 1 and 2, but XPC just seems to have another level that they can go to if needed.
Well, let's have a look if they're going to move into this rush. I'm pretty sure that they might want to do that, and yeah, they even see the Rocket Flare scouting it out, and they're going to be moving straight in. I mean, after this rush, I think XPC might just, push up high ground and win.
Yeah, they'll use that to leverage into, at the very least, tier 2 in the mid lane, and probably the tier 2 up on top, and then start pushing in. But they need to make certain that they have a pick-off onto the Tinker. They've gotten some fantastic pick-offs, particularly that vac wall into the Sand King stun. Really just, I mean, that allowed them to get another full 5-man wipe, and shutting down the Tinker is the most important play at the moment for XPC.
Yeah. Now, a lot of you guys are wondering why they're diving this deep instead of actually just taking the tier 2 towers. The big thing is, if you try and siege head on, the Tinker's going to stop you. You have to try and wrap around, take a fight in the background, and then you can move back and actually take a tower. So it works in reverse, you know, a little bit different.
Cody caught out the Ancients here.
Yeah, he does manage to get out of that one due to a very good combo. But unfortunately, the Sand King does get caught out as well. So it's a 1-4-0 trade-off at this point. Claudio does actually drop another hook shot coming in onto the Dark Ship, but the Bane is also using his ultimate straight onto the Rubik. Rubik does actually go into the Sandstorm, but does manage to get out of that one. It's a 2-for-1 trade-off. Refugees will be very happy with that.
Yeah, fantastically happy about that. They did lose their Tinker again, which is a slight problem, but they're going to maybe get another kill here. Pow caught out, and Bane will just eat his brain.
I mean, this Bane, it's really showing the first pick, the first pick material that, you know, XPC actually showed on it. I mean, it really was their first pick, and he's doing a lot. I mean, getting the good Fiend's grips off, getting the Nightmares off, the Brain Saps off. I have to really give credit to this Bane. He's been playing tremendously well.
Yeah, I mean, he has. The interesting thing, though, is that Bane is not the most popular supports in general. And, I mean, surprisingly, the Romanian scene just seems to ignore the Earthshaker entirely. And the fact that they've gone with the Bane and that he has done so much work just really speaks to the fact that XPC knows how to work around the hero, how to use his early pick-off potential, and just, you know, leverage that into dominant early games. It's reaching that stage, though, where RFG can look to make something happen. They are far behind enough that XPC still has a significant chance to win, but XPC is going to start to fall off in the near future.
Well, the axe actually pre-popping the blade mail just before the slaughter actually wanted to go in. So very good map awareness there, or possibly just a precaution saying, well, the creep wave's nearly done. Let me just pop my blade mail so that I can so that I can just get out. I'm very surprised that XPC hasn't gone for the rush.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they'd need everybody there, and they don't really have any armor reduction, so it would take a very, very long time, and it does also set them up for a potential Tinker into Slardar, gank, so I don't think they really want to try that all that much. And looks like there might have been an attempted kill up on top lane.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the Aghanim Scepters up here for the Axe right now. 4-star's nearly going to be up here for the Bane. Enchantress does have a Glimmer Cape up as well as a point booster, and probably also moving towards that Aghanim Scepter. The Blink 4-star and Gem is up here for the Sand King. I'm just looking if there's any big items that they're waiting for, and I don't think so. And well, here's the epicenter. Blink 4-star combo straight in onto the Clockwork. And I mean, that's a big kill. That's the initiation that might have caught them out at rush, and I think they're just going to move all the way back right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Clockwork I think is the backbreaker for the rush defense for RFG. I also have another weird graphical glitch that Keanu is basically doing the dance of Sandstorm constantly. He doesn't change out of it, so it's quite weird that he's floating on the ground.
Mine's actually doing that as well. It looks like he's skiing on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Looks, well, I mean, I guess it's just a reborn bug, but anyway, so yeah, at the moment, it's looking
It looks like I'm so fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, XPC looking fairly solid at the moment. They, as I said, like, they need to get things done. They can't sit and be passive this long. They need to put pressure on the towers. They need to take objectives, whether that's a rush or a tier 2. It needs to be done, and needs to be done soon, because the Blink Dagger is up on the Tinker. That means he's incredibly difficult to stop, and he's just going to be able to force out the lanes the whole time. So XPC can't really, spread their resources too thin and try and push out all of the lanes. They have to focus on 1 or 2 at most, and work that way, and then just try and prevent the Tinker from getting anything done either.
Yeah, well, they're putting pressure here on the top tier 2. Let's have a look if they're actually going to try and commit to this. A lot of the guys are just waiting in the back ends. I mean, they do all have their Blink Daggers up, but a very good Tinker Ward being placed by the side of XPC on the left-hand side here.
Yeah, I mean, these are common wards for Tinkers when they are in the game, and I mean, it's been a while since we've seen them all that regularly. About TI4 time, they were uber popular because of that hero.
Yeah, and in Reborn you can actually see that they've changed it a bit because these always used to be different heights. Now it's like one solid height. You can put it up anywhere you want there.
Yeah, one uniform up. Yeah, I mean it's nice little changes, and they've also actually cleared up the edge. I mean, you could generally see over the edge of the walls as well. So just small little things there for Reborn patches.
Well, top tier 2 has been taken. XPC, they really want this third win. This will this will basically net them $1,000 if they do manage to actually get this. For those of you guys, oh wait, we are actually seeing engagement here. The call doesn't latch onto the Dazzle, and there you go. The call's actually there, and I think Dazzle, buddy, you are dead. There's another dunk coming through. I'm Reddit. For those of you guys that don't know who I am, check me out on Twitter. It's at RedditDota or Facebook.com/RedditDota. My co-caster is Prophecy. It's at Prophecy Gaming. And your Facebook, is it also Facebook.com/Prophecy Gaming, or?
Yeah, exactly the same.
Well, there you go, guys. Check us out. We're part of NavTV, navtv.co.za, or facebook.com/NavGamingTV. Thanks so much for the support, guys. Thanks so much, Chronic, specifically. Big shout out due to you for asking us to cast these games. It's been tremendous. It's been insane. We're slowly but surely breaking into the international scene, and hopefully you guys will be seeing a lot more of us. If you guys like us, don't like us, hate us, flame us, blame us, whatever you want, go check out our Facebook pages, or even on the Twitch chat. Let us know what you think and how we can improve. We're always ready to learn more.
Yeah, it does look like we're gonna finally get that rush that we've been asking for so long, and unfortunately RFG not really in a position to try and defend. All their heroes are up, so they will spot it now, but far too late.
This is going to be the Axe that will be grabbing this. Axe does have a Staff of Wizardry and Null Talisman chilling in the base. What do you think his next item is going to be?
The Axe, probably some kind of, I think just more tank, I would say. Maybe, what on earth is going on at the that looks very, very weird to me.
They're just
staring at each other, I guess.
Basically, as soon as you get to this point where you're toggling the nightmare of an enemy to try and stop someone from actually getting a kill, you're quite far in front, and you're just having fun.
Yeah, well, talk about having fun. Axe has bought himself a Dagon.
Ah, so that was the... Yep.
Yeah, Axe, Dagon, like... This is like full-on pub. You don't buy crap like that unless you're seriously confident in your ability to win the game. So,
well, Dagon Culling
come back to bite them. I mean, I suppose it's additional burst damage, but that still does seem a very, very cheeky method of trying to get a person into Culling Blade range.
Yeah, definitely. Bane might just run into the Slaughter right now. Slaughter does not have any vision. He's busy sprinting out, trying to... Oh, very lucky there. Trying to look if there's anything to farm up. Unfortunately, not using his Hand of Midas at last. Trying to go for that BKB, but I don't think... He might actually be able to get this BKB off just as they're pushing on high ground. It's going to be very difficult for him. The big thing, though, is that will be a 10-second BKB, and... Ooh. He does manage to get out of it. Is there going to be a brain sap? Nope, just TPing out straight away. So that means he won't get his BKB. A 10-second BKB would be quite helpful. The problem, though, is Bane will just Fiend Script him.
Yeah, I mean, it is necessary, but the one I think that they have to look after is basically Tinker. He's the one that they have to put all of their money bags, or, put all of their eggs into that basket and hope and pray that he comes through for them, because the Slaughter's time... I mean, he's never really gotten going. The BKB just prevents him from getting locked down by the additional stuns. But he can still get caught out by the Berserker's Call, can get caught out by the Bane ultimate, as you've said. So, I mean, he's still not going to do all that well.
Now, the old school, Chinese games, they always said they prefer to have a 20,000 net worth before they try and break high ground. Estimated 20,000 net worth advantage, and it's just breached that 20,000 net worth advantage here for XPC. So we almost likely see them trying to jump in from this angle or that angle, trying to jump or get away from the March of the Machine. They can get a good blink call off. They might just be able to end the game, because looking at the buyback status right now, there is a buyback on the Tinker and the Slaughter and the Sand King. Oh wait, no, that's the Tinker and the Slaughter for the side of RFG. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be like the slowest siege in the world, though. They don't really have any method of actually getting in, and the Tinker's really going to slow things down. So they'll do chip damage to the tier 3 before anything else goes through.
Yeah. Well, there's a Sand King actually does go pop his epicenter, but it's only on the one. The call is actually there. The Axe does have his Aegis up right now. The buyback is there from the Tinker as well as the Rubik just getting it in time. A huge Fiend's Grip from the Bane. One full screen across, and that's 2 heroes down. The Clockwork does not have buyback. No, the Clockwork actually does have buyback if you want to use it. But unfortunately, the Axe does drop right now. He should be able to get out of this one alive if he actually does blink, but he doesn't because of the Rubik Sandstorm. So a 3-4-2 trade-off with 2 buybacks.
Yeah, well, Synergy's still for some reason running around in the opponent base, and this is going to be another death to his name, and trying to get the kill onto Claudio, but somehow Claudio is able to survive.
Yeah, so that was a 3-4-2. Yeah, I think it was a 3-4-2 trade-off with 1 buyback or 2 buybacks. No, that was actually 2 buybacks. 3-4-3 with 2 buybacks.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that doesn't slow the Tinker down at all. He's not going to get his Bloodstone up and running, and the spam will just commence, and there's nothing that XPC can really do. And this is what I was a little bit worried about, is because now XPC, they have no way of actually catching the Tinker. They've gotten lucky on a couple of occasions, but in general, Claudio has shown a very good, knowledge of where he can and can't stand. And I think they lost they lost the gem there as well. So that's pretty major, because now Claudio can basically just counter any wards they do place against him on these wards. I mean, on the cliffs.
That's it. Well, let's have a look here quickly. I mean, it's very difficult for these blink engagers to actually try and jump onto RFG because of the Tinker, but they do have 4 staffs up. That's a level 2 Dagon, might just be a level 3 Dagon up from Axe next. I mean, if they do manage to get pickoffs outside of the enemy base, outside of RFG's base, then I think they win the game. But as they're going to try and siege the whole time, I mean, for that 4 or 5 minute engagement, it only took half the tower's damage on the top lane.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, with the Bloodstone now on the Tinker, he's going to be, returning pretty quickly anyway, so it gets more and more difficult for XPC to try and continue these pushes, because their damage and their ability to clear waves isn't fantastic. And on the side of RFG, I mean, they have one of the best in the business at doing that. So they'll never really get great opportunities to go high ground unless they get those pickoffs. And I don't think that RFG will ever give those pickoffs to XPC.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing though that I have to point out, Sand King has gone for level 2 Necro, so we'll have his level 3 Necros up pretty soon. Having those Necros, that might actually give them a little bit more ability to actually pop or break the high ground, because Tinker is going to take quite a bit of damage from killing the Necros all the time. And that's a level 3 Dagon up for Axe.
Yeah, level 3 Dagon up for Axe, and I don't know if he's going to complete it. He might as well, I think, go full YOLO with it and grab the level 5. Other than that, I mean, I would have ideally loved to have seen Necro books on perhaps the Enchantress as well. He's actually not done a fantastic job of having creeps up, up the whole time, and that I think is going to come back to bite her a little bit. She desperately needs just extra meat in the front lines to just tank up a bit of this damage.
Well, I still give this game probably still around a 70% chance that XPC's got to win. However, if they try and delay this for another 10 minutes, that will get switched around completely. Although RFG also does not really have that much late game with a Slaughter, I will probably still say XPC's got a better late game lineup, but the Tinker makes up for everything.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, the Tinker is just going to carry through the sheer fact that XPC will never be able to push in. And that's basically the game breaker, is that if you can never get to the high ground, then you'll never be able to kill off the Tinker, which means that they can basically just keep farming the whole game. And eventually the Slaughter will be tanky enough to kill off at least 2 of your heroes for XPC. That's all it really needs to do.
Well, Slaughter's got a 10-second BKB up. Level 3 Necros are up now for the Sand King. I think this is the time that they want to push in. They've got the level 3 Necros up, but the smoke's actually being used here by Refugee. Now, I'm not completely sure about this. They do want to try and go and kill the dogs here, they should actually be able to get this. But this was a very risky move from them, because if they do, oh, not actually getting the blink stun.
And the blinks, the pings immediately come out to go top lane, and that was actually a cancelled TP from. Okay, cancelled TP from Claudius. Do they spot him? They know where he is, and they're going to try and catch him. Does you just grab him? He's going to blink ahead.
And there's the blink. Yeah, after, you know, Fiend's Grim from. And I mean, this is. He does not have buyback. He does not have buyback.
He does have Bloodstone though, so he'll be back relatively soon, but they have no way of protecting the creep wave or defending the creep wave.
That's 50 seconds. I'm not sure that. I mean, this might just be 2 days of Rack that is down. There's the blink. There's the vacuum coming through here from the dogs here. The BKB Slaughter is just going ham straight onto the Bane right now, or onto the Sand King. The hook shot also being used straight onto the Bane. Bane unfortunately just nightmares himself up. They do manage to get the kill on the top side onto the Slaughter. And what the Slaughter has brought back, but the problem is the Tinker's still dead. That's the problem when you try and push out with the Tinker, is everyone's just going to be waiting behind here. They managed to get the pick off. This will be at least 1 lane of racks. Level 2 routes of travel being picked up by the Slaughter as well. Are they going to be able to get any more? There's the core coming through from the axe as well. The vacuum's actually backed into its own, into their own cogs, but that's even more heroes down. I think this might just be game. Darkshade does manage to pick up the gem, force-stops himself out. They've not got the Rakshas yet. There's a good stun coming through from the Slaughter. He does manage to get the kill on the dogs here, but there's the epicenter into a stun. A double, a triple coming from the axe right now. I want to cough. Give me a second.
Yeah, and I mean, XPC can use that as a final GG, and there we go. So I must say the fact that RFG played a hell of a lot better this game. They again suffered in the early game, but we're somehow able to find the farm on the Tinker and just keep the game alive long enough. But those critical pickoffs just costing them in the end.
Yeah, definitely. That's a 3-0 wipe. Congratulations to XPC. I mean, you know, Mastercard, Synergy, Razvan, Illusionist, Keanu, just playing tremendously well. 72% on Dota 2 Lounge. They're living up to, you know, their name here. A lot of people would have people, you know, will be very happy that their Arcanas and their Bugattis are safe. Congratulations to them for beating Blow Your Mind yesterday and not beating Refugees.